From the Massachusetts Broadcasters Station of the Year, this is Western Mass News at 6 p.m.
Well, our first round of snow for the season is on tap Friday morning. We'll take a look at the latest forecast coming up.
Could snow days be a thing of the past? I'm Audrey Russo, and coming up, we head to the hill towns to see how districts are planning on handling inclement weather in the era of remote learning.
I just think we all have a responsibility to vote, and it's really important that our vote counts.
And early votes continue to pour in across the state, where we're seeing the highest turnouts in Western Mass. It may be fall, but we're going to be getting a taste of winter fairly soon. Welcome to Western Mass News at 6. I'm Chris Pisano.
It hurts a little bit. I'm Jordyn Jagolinzer. We do have team coverage ahead of our expected snowfall. Lindsay Kane is standing by, and our first morning weather tracker, Audrey Russo, will fill us in on potential snow day plans for schools. But first, let's get the latest on our forecast with meteorologist Janna Brown. Hey, Janna.
Hey, guys. Yeah, we do have snow on the way. It's not going to get started until the overnight hours, but winter weather advisories have been issued out ahead of that for potentially rough travel. So from 4 a.m. to noon on Friday, we have advisories up for all of Western Mass. In this instance, what the advisory means is that 1 to 3 inches of general snow expected could cause roads to be slippery, and that could impact your travel, making it a little hazardous for tomorrow morning. Temperatures around sunrise may actually be a little bit warmer than, say, 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. So if temperatures dip a little bit, roads can actually become slippery or icy, and that could lead to some accidents. So that's why the winter weather advisory is up, not just for the snow amounts, which actually will stay on the fairly low side, I guess, but it is still our first snowfall. Right now it's raining, and it has been all day. Looks like the heaviest rain has now started to move off to our north, and rain looks like it's going to lighten up a little bit. As you look down to our south and west, it has broken up a bit here in North Jersey and New York. So I think we may actually start to go to some scattered showers later on tonight. Right now it's foggy, lots of low clouds from our sky cam, 45 degrees currently. Breezes are starting to pick up a little bit too. Lower to middle 40s across the board right now, so still too warm for any wintry weather, and that will continue through midnight tonight. Winds will start shifting more out of the north, which will begin bringing in that colder air. And by sunrise, we're going to be in the lower to middle 30s. So while we're not expecting a lengthy time of heavy wet snow, it might be on the wetter side for the valley compared to the hills as we hover right above freezing. And then as temperatures dip closer to noon, actually, as that colder air really sets in, roads could become a bit slippery. So we'll take a look at the rest of your forecast and all the details in a few minutes. But for now, our team coverage continues. We'll head out to Lindsay Kane in our first warning weather tracker.
Janna, we're in Chicopee right now, and take a look at what we're seeing. The rain is pretty steady right now, and the roads are definitely slick from all the leaves on the ground. Officials are urging people to clean out their storm drains to avoid any possible flooding. And Mass DOT is issuing a travel advisory overnight for the rain and predicted wet snow. They say if drivers must go out on the roadways, they need to wear seatbelts, obey the state's hands-free driving law, minimize distractions, and devote full attention to what is ahead on the road. Now, we'll continue to monitor these conditions and bring you the very latest on air and online for Western Mass News. Live in Chicopee, Lindsay Kane, Western Mass News.
Lindsay, thank you for that live report. And with the anticipated snow tomorrow, Western Mass News is checking in on the hill towns, which tend to see a little more snowfall than we do here in the valley.
Yeah, we're getting answers on how school districts there are actually planning for snow days. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo continues our team coverage and joins us live with those details. Audrey?
So in years past, snow and ice on the roads would have meant a snow day. However, that may not be the case any longer, as the era of COVID-19 has brought a certain ease of access and comfort to different towns across the state when it comes to remote learning.
This is always the most difficult decision.
Maybe you wore your pajamas inside out or did the snow day dance. Anything to beckon enough flakes to cover the roadway. But with more schools using remote learning in the COVID-19 pandemic, snow days could be a thing of the past.
We would go into a fully remote teaching modality if we can't come to school physically.
The Gateway Regional School District, serving the hill towns, had used blizzard bags for the past 3 years to give students a dose of schoolwork when the roads were too dangerous. The state tried to end the program this year until the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Superintendent David Hobson says this year their use of blizzard bags will stick more closely to the regular curriculum.
We did alternative lesson plans for those blizzard bag days, and now because half of our students are on remote on any given day anyways, it will just be more continuation of what the teachers are doing in the classroom.
In the Belchertown district, the chair of their school committee tells Western Mass News snow days this year could be rare.
So instead of having to use like the traditional snow days, it can turn into a remote day, so there's not extra days added at the end of the year.
If a power outage were to leave most of the town in the dark, Heidi Gutekunst says traditional snow days would still be used in Belchertown. Whether or not the COVID-19 way of schooling continues after the pandemic is over,
I would certainly like to keep them as a things of the past.
May just depend on what school you go to.
We'll just have snow days like we've always had them.
Both Belchertown and the Gateway Regional School District are using a hybrid model of learning during the pandemic. Reporting live, I'm Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
Audrey, thank you for that live report. And Western Mass News will have you covered throughout this storm. Be sure to tune in to our coverage starting tomorrow morning bright and early at 4:30 a.m. Western Mass News is your election authority. We're 5 days away now from Election Day. But more than half of registered voters in some towns and cities in the area have already cast their ballots.
One of those communities is South Hadley. Western Mass News reporter Leon Purvis was there to learn more about the situation.
Voters in South Hadley are casting their ballots early, both in person and by mail, with more than 56% of ballots already in.
I can certainly, as town clerk, this is historic, but then again, we've never had the challenge of a pandemic.
South Hadley Town Clerk Carlene Hamlin tells Western Mass News the majority of their 12,000 registered voters are voting by mail.
Folks that are taking the option of vote by mail, that's been extremely well received here in South Hadley. Our current applications that are out are over 7,000.
Out of those 7,000 applications, Hamlin tells me more than 6,000 have already been returned, and about 2,000 early voters have turned out so far at the polls in South Hadley. Sydney Scott became one of those voters on Thursday as she cast a ballot for the first time ever.
I just think we all have a responsibility to vote, and it's really important that our vote counts, especially the younger generation.
Scott tells Western Mass News she is encouraging her friends to vote as well.
Just letting everybody know their options and making sure that all my friends have a plan to vote as well.
She says the record early voting in South Hadley is good for the community.
I think it's great that we're all turning up and doing our right to vote.
Early voting in the Bay State ends this Friday. Election Day is on Tuesday, November 3rd, and mail-in ballots in Massachusetts must be postmarked by Election Day. For Western Mass News, I'm Leon Purvis.
For the second time this week, a state committee working on a report about the deadly COVID-19 outbreak at the Holyoke Soldiers Home heard testimony from those connected to the home or those who were impacted by the outbreak. On Tuesday, staff members from the Soldiers Home shared their side of the story, explaining the problems that they faced fighting COVID-19, which left 76 veteran residents dead. Today, the committee heard from former Home Superintendent Paul Barabani. At the end of his near 90-minute presentation, Barabani urged the lawmakers to take action soon and not to wait until the spring to submit its findings and possible legislation.
This committee has an incredible responsibility to the future and the ability to make things right. We can't afford to wait till March to take action on the staffing. I truly feel that.
While today's hearing was in Boston, Tuesday's was held at Holyoke Community College. On Tuesday, the committee also heard from families of veterans impacted by the outbreak. Now at 6, a North Adams man is facing murder charges after a 2019 incident. Last July, police arrested 43-year-old Michael Cook after he assaulted his wife, Charlie. She died last December due to injuries sustained in that attack. Now the Berkshire District Attorney has obtained an indictment of Cook for murder.
The Northwestern DA's office has identified the victim of a deadly Tuesday night crash in South Hadley. They say 48-year-old Rachel Kimball of Chicopee died in the two-car crash on New Ludlow Road. Police responded to that scene just after 8 p.m. Tuesday, shutting down the road during their investigation. The driver of the second vehicle remained on scene and was cooperating. No charges or citations have been issued. State and local police are investigating.
Following up on the petition to prevent the cancellation of high school winter sports in the Bay State, our Boston affiliate WBZ is reporting the MIAA voted this afternoon to cancel winter sports tournaments. Those sports include basketball, gymnastics, ice hockey, and more. Meanwhile, a petition to prevent the cancellation of winter sports has gathered over 16,000 signatures online. The petition is on your screen right now. Organizers say that if health officials think it's not safe to play in the winter, then petitioners would rather them wait until the spring instead of canceling them outright.